Gergen. All right, so let's go over a little bit. Those of you that have followed me on this channel and followed, Washington politics, that is Washington state politics. We've talked a lot about the governor's race and Semi Bird versus Dave Reichert and so forth. And I've gone over the in past videos. If you have not seen them, scroll through. I'm going to be uploading. I've had a few requests to upload past episodes up to YouTube, and I have been remiss in doing so. I keep forgetting to do it, but I am going to do that this evening after tonight's show. I will be putting up past episodes so you can go back and watch those, and to kind of get up to speed on the conversation that we have been having here on this channel regarding the governor's race and regarding Washington state politics, what's going on with the Republican Party in Washington state, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And there is not very much good, and there's a lot of bad, and there's a lot of ugly. And so tonight we're going to get into, now that we are in May, April is done. We are in May. And by the way, happy Cinco de Mayo to all of you. It's like Taco Tuesday, except on Sunday. So let's go into a little bit about what's going on with the race. So as we all know, just to catch everybody up, make sure we're all on the same page. In April at the convention, the Washington State Republican Convention, over in Spokane, Washington, Semi Bird and 1,300 of his supporters took the nomination. And so the Washington State Republican Party officially nominated Semi Bird as the candidate. And since that time, there's been a lot of crowing and a lot of people, talking and running their mouth and talking about how, the Semi Bird has the base, and Semi Bird has the party, and Semi Bird has this, and Semi Bird has that. So we're going to go over a little bit about all of that. I've even heard that Semi is a better candidate than Lauren Culp was 4 years ago, which I take that personal, honestly, because I'm the one that ran Lauren's campaign, and there isn't anything similar. I said that in past episodes. There isn't anything similar between the two campaigns, and we're going to illustrate that in very real terms today. So with that, let's go ahead and dig into where we are. I saw on Facebook, I don't know if any of you have also seen this, that somewhere it says that Dave Reichert is now over $3 million raised, 28,000 individual contributions, and so forth. I cannot confirm that. Now, that does not mean that it's not true. It just means that when I look at the PDC reports, I'm not seeing anything reported. Now, I have a very difficult time believing that a campaign that has been as well run as Dave's campaign has been, strictly from an operations standpoint, that they would allow something like that and allow their staff to, like and share something like that if it was not true. So obviously those numbers are coming from somewhere internally. Reports are not due until, I believe, the 10th, which will be this week. This is filing week, by the way, starting tomorrow morning, 0800 in the morning, and runs through Friday at 5 p.m. So, I don't know where Dave's at as far as his overall. He's saying 3 million. He's saying 28,000 individual contributions. That may be true. Honestly, it probably is true, but I don't have confirmation of that, because Dave does not post C3 reports, which are individual daily reports. Like, as you raise money, you file the C3 to outline who exactly gave on what given day and how much. Now, there's two ways, just for those of you to just kind of understand how all that works, if you don't know how that works. So campaigns can do this one of two different ways. You can report it as it comes in, like Semi Bird has done, right? So, they're filing reports every day, or every day that money comes in, they're filing a C3 report showing that John Q. Public and Susie Q. Public gave $50, and Susie Q. Public gave, $75 on the 10th of April, right? And so then they file that. And so you can track along with how the fundraising is going in any given month, okay? Now, the only reason that a campaign would want to do that is if there's a narrative there that you're trying to establish. So if you're the underdog, so this is a little bit of strategy for you. If you're the underdog and people don't think that you deserve to be in the fight, what you do is you file your reports. As long as you're raising good money, you're filing these reports, and daily or weekly, what you're doing is you're getting on social media and you're talking about how well you're doing in the field, how much money you're raising in the field, and you're pushing back on that narrative that you don't belong in the race, right? So if you do that, if you file your C3s, but you're not actually killing it financially, if you're not actually raising the money, all you're doing is you're pushing out how weak your campaign really is. And so what I've done is I followed Semi's campaign. We'll start with Semi because Semi files daily C3s. Dave's campaign files monthly C3s along with the C4, which is the C4 report is the overall summary for how the fundraising went and what actually happened in any given month. It's like a balance sheet for the previous month. And the C3s, they file them all at the same time. So all your C3s and C4s get filed on one day. And the reason that you would do that as the front runner is because you don't want because it's assumed that you're going to raise good money. And if you're having a bad month, you don't want to put that out there every single day and allow your opponents to know that you're having a tough time fundraising, right? Because then that gives them an attack vector on you to attack you. If you're killing it, well, you're already expected to kill it, right? So there's no real benefit there. Okay, so there's two little strategies there. All right, now with Semi Bird, Semi's been filing daily C3s, and I've tracked all of this. And according to last month's C4, from where he began, April 1, okay, until the end of the month, the very last C3 he reported, I think he's at 482,000. So that would put his April haul, his April fundraising at 54,718. Now, full disclosure, maybe he's sandbagging some big donations. Maybe he is, he's got an ace in the hole. He's not showing people, and he's going to drop a bigger number, on the 10th. It could happen. I don't know why he would do that strategically, because I would have put that out immediately. That way I could counter the narrative that I don't belong, right? That way I could reinforce the narrative that now I have the endorsement. I'm the guy. I'm the one that, even though my opponent's out fundraising me, I've got the base and we're going to push it forward, and look how much money I'm raising now, because that has been the criticism. But he has not done this. So maybe he's holding it. Maybe he's going to try to run that narrative in May. I don't know. But all I do know is that he's raised $54,718 according to his own C3 reports for the month of April. Now, 54,718 sucks. It's terrible. It's a bad month. It's a good month for him, but it's a bad month for the campaign. If Dave Reichert has really got over $3 million, let's say he goes from 2.5, which where he's at now, and I'm rounding. Okay, let's say he goes from 2.5 to 3. That means he raised $500,000 last month, which is roughly 10 times what Semi Bird has raised last month. Okay, so that's not looking good for the Bird campaign. Okay, so I have said in the past, I think 3 weeks ago, or even a month now, that this race was over. I maintain that this race is over. This is game over, Mr. Bird. Okay, and you may disagree with this. You're going to run it all the way to August, and listen, I respect it. You got to run your play. But this is over for you. This is not going to happen for you. August is going to be a bad month, and it's going to be a year and a half out of your life that frankly was a big waste of time. So when you look at those numbers, I'm getting some pushback saying, and even some of my very good friends have gone out on Facebook and said that, that Semi Bird has the base, Semi Bird had the party, Lauren Culp didn't have the party, but he did have the base. So let's go back and let's take a history lesson here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you. I don't know if you guys can actually see this on the screen, but this is from the PDC, right? So this actually shows the reports. So the yellowish orange is Josh Freed, and then the purple is Lauren Culp. So Lauren got in the race in July. Okay, July of 2019. His first month, he raised about $8,900 or almost $9,000. Then he raised almost $16,000. Then he raised $11,000. And then it was in that month that Josh Freed jumped in the race and he raised $548,591. Now, of that $548,591, $500,000 of it was given by Josh Freed himself. So it was actually money from the field was only $48,000. Okay, not impressive, not at a gubernatorial level. So in October, things started to shift in Lauren's campaign. It was kind of a make or break month for the prior manager that he had at the time. $13,972 was what they raised at that point. At the end of that month, they got rid of they just made a change there. In November, there really wasn't, I was de facto the one running the show, even though I wasn't on the ground. So November, they did 13,000. We did about the same as we did in October. Then in December, when I actually took over, we did 21,000. Josh did 45,000. Back in November, Josh did 30,000. So he was beating Lauren the entire time. Then in January, Josh raised 45,000, but Lauren raised a little bit more. So in December, he raised 21. In January, he raised 29. Then in March, we raised 38. In February, we raised 38. Josh raised 131. So it wasn't looking good for us. And then March was kind of a make or break. I've said this to you guys in the past, that March was really an inflection point in the campaign. We did a big event. We brought in a big speaker, and we had about 300 people down there at the Great Wolf Lodge, and we really got a lot of traction that month. Josh did 123 that month. So he did 131, then he did 123. A lot of the establishment team was like, this is over. Then the next month, you see a flip. All of a sudden, Josh crashes to 44. And then the next month, Lauren does 87. So in April of 2020, Lauren does $87,752 without any backing of the party, without any backing from the establishment, without any backing from anybody in the legislative caucuses, either the SRCC or HROC. He doesn't have any support from anybody except for we the people. The very same base that Semi says he has. In April of 2020, Lauren brings in $87,752. Now, if my notes are correct here, because I just said this here. So 54,718 is what Semi has brought in April. Lauren brought in 87,000. Okay, so that's about 75% more than what Semi brings in. Then in May, we clamped down and we started to roll. We pulled in 151,000. Josh pulled in 87,000. Okay. Then the next month, we're gaining more momentum. 327,173. Josh brings in $177. Then in July, this race is over, by the way, at this point. Everyone knows it. Well, everyone except for Josh. But everyone knows it. This race is over. Lauren has the momentum. Lauren, at this point, is the de facto guy. Without party support, without any of the shenanigans that Semi went ahead and did in Spokane this year, without any of that bullshit, Lauren is crushing it. Okay? Josh brings in 272, which is respectable. And then in August, we have the election. Lauren brings in about $500,000, 499.5. And then Josh, of course, loses and makes the pivot into the lieutenant governor race. So that was kind of the story, right? So if you take Josh out and you look at this curve, okay, so this is what you want to look for. This is a little bit of strategy for you guys that are wanting to get into this business. Okay, you want your candidate every month to be building momentum and building strength. You don't want up, down, up, down, up, down. You don't want it to have a downward trajectory. You want this thing to build over time and then peak at the right point. Okay, you want it to peak at the right point. So now let's look at this. Let's look at Semi's race. All right. So the gold is Semi and the purple is Dave Reichert. So Dave gets in later. So he gets in July 2023, roughly the same time frame that Lauren got in. But Semi been in since November of 22, right? So his first month he does $276, not 276,000, just $276. And then the next month he brings in about 2,800, and then 12,000, and then 5,600, and then 10,000, and then 15,000, and then 28,000, and then 41,000, and then he collapses in July and does 17,000 when Dave Reichert gets in. So that right there was not a good sign. As soon as you get an opponent, your fundraising, which is pretty much starting to go up, he's starting to build momentum, then it collapses. Then the next month he does 17, that does a little less, actually, does a couple $100 less. So he does the same. Then the next month after that, he's at 38,000. Then the next month after that, he's at 33,000. Then the next month after that, he's at 28,000. So now he's losing momentum. Okay. Then in December, he's at 33,000. Then in January, he's at 33,000. Then in February, he's at 38,000, right? So what you see is, and then he pops in March, he gets 53,000. And then we get the bullshit at the convention about how it's over, all the big money, and it's all going to fall from heaven like manna. And, it's just this magic fairy dust. It's just going to magically happen. So this month, last month he does 53,650. This month it looks like he's tracking 54,718, right? So he's doing the same thing. So what you see is a candidate right here that has flatlined and peaked, right? He doesn't have the cult base. He does not have the cult base, because this is the cult base. This right here. This is the cult base. Okay. Semi is many things, but Lauren Culp, he is not. And I don't care how you feel about Lauren. Lauren is my friend. Lauren and I disagree deeply on Semi Bird. Okay. But Lauren is my friend, and Semi Bird is no Lauren Culp. He's not. And Semi's team is no Culp team. The reason Lauren was able to achieve this was because he had great leadership and he had a great team. Period. Full stop. The reason you see Semi Bird flatlined is because he has poor leadership and he doesn't have a team. And there are some very good people on his team that support him, but they can only do so much, right? It takes more than just islands of good people. You have to have them coordinated, working together towards a goal, and they have to be organized, and there has to be systems, and there has to be plans, and there has to be all of this stuff. But the word on the street is that Semi can't keep leadership. He can't keep people, and he blames everybody but himself. He takes no responsibility. The fact that his fundraising sucks is on Semi Bird, period, full stop. It's not on his campaign manager. I don't blame him. I've had maybe one conversation with him. I think he's a nice guy. Out of his own mouth, he said he's never done this before. And so as somebody that's a professional, been doing this a very, very long time, decades, okay, I don't blame that guy, right? I don't blame that guy. I blame the candidate. This is on Semi Bird. Now, you look at Dave Reichert. Dave Reichert comes in. Dave's a pro. He's been around. He's been doing it a long time. He's won a lot of races at the highest levels. Okay. And this isn't about their politics. Reichert is not the most conservative guy in the world. Okay. He's a moderate Republican. Okay. That's just what he is. He's a moderate Republican. Either you like it or you don't like it. Doesn't make a difference. That's who he is. But homeboy can raise money and he can organize a crew. Dave Reichert has a great team over there. He has a great team of people that know what they're doing, that have kind of started to organize the chaos, because every campaign is organized chaos. It's literally herding cats and getting most of the cats to go in a general direction. That ultimately is what large campaigns are, because there's so many different moving parts. So July, he comes out of the gate $1.79. The next month he's at 230, 231. The next month he drops down 161. Then he picks it up again in October, 284. Then we head into the break, which is wintertime. He's at $1.91. December, he flatlines. He's about $1.88. January has a dip, 151. That actually would concern me, or would have concerned me. The next month, he comes back with a huge February, 374. That's his high water mark. And then he repeats, basically. He does a little bit less in March, 331, almost 332. If he hits over 500,000, which is what their memes and their different things on Facebook are saying, then this is going to be a banner month for him. But I don't know that that's true. I have no reason to disbelieve it. I just haven't seen the PDC reports. Okay, so there is no comparison. To be clear, there is no comparison whatsoever between Semi Bird's race and Lauren Kolb's race. There's just not. You can give Olympia the bird. You can give, doesn't make a difference who you give the bird to. It's fine, whatever. He's your guy. He says he's a conservative, fine. The guy has difficulty telling the truth about things. And the guy doesn't know what red flag laws are. The guy has started to pivot into using race-based politics. Oh, you don't like me because, right? Well, see, all of that is just garbage. Anytime your candidate pivots into that sort of genre, then you just need to walk away from them because they're unserious. Okay, this has nothing to do with race. The only thing that this has to do with the lack of support here is because you suck as a candidate, Semi. You're just not good at this. You ran a school board race, which is great, good for you, but then you got recalled in a red district, right? So, I mean, that's just there. And then there's questions that you refuse to answer, and the answers that you give, you don't stick to them. Right. And the fact that you didn't disclose many things, it's okay. So then the Republican Party is irrelevant. I don't care what Jim Walsh says. I don't care what anybody says. I know Jim has his own angle because it's his responsibility. I know why Jim says what he says. He's the chairman. He has to say that things are amazing, right? He has to be the cheerleader. He has to raise the money. He has to do his job. I get it. I respect it. I respect Jim. I like Jim. I don't necessarily agree with how certain things are being run, but at the end of the day, I like him. I think he's a good guy. But allowing the Republican Party to go in and endorse a guy like Semi Bird that has no shot, that clearly is not doing the work. He's not done the work. The numbers don't lie. This is the scoreboard. This is the scoreboard. This is like being in the Super Bowl and your team's down by like 100, but you like their uniforms better, and you say because of that, they're going to win. It's just nonsense. It's craziness. This race is done. Is over. Okay? Now, where do we move on from here? Now we focus on Bob Ferguson. Bob Ferguson's in trouble. And I'm going to tell you why. He's trying to rewrite history. As far as he knows he's got a lot of liabilities when it comes to his stance on police, his stance on law enforcement, his stance on public safety, his stance on drugs, his stance on all these different things. And he has actually been an enemy combatant of the people, we the people, for a long time, for like over 8 years. Okay, and so he's trying to spin and rewrite history because he believes fundamentally. Well, first of all, it's his only play. He's got no play. He can't run on his record. He's got no record to run on, and so he believes fundamentally that the people are stupid, which is why he has disrespected we the people in Washington State for the better part of a decade, right? With impunity. Doesn't give a shit what you think about it. $30 card tabs, screw you. You are obviously too dumb to understand what the verbiage actually meant, so we're going to do what we want. We're going to file 100 lawsuits against Donald Trump, which is just dumb. And we're going to let Chaz and Chop happen, and we're going to let all of these different things happen. We're not going to prosecute crimes. We're going to let people out of jail. We're going to, during COVID, we're going to turn around and let rapists and murderers and all these different people out of jail like they did. It's complete nonsense. And this guy, he has a lot of liabilities that even Democrats are like, no, I'm not talking about the blue-haired ones, right? I'm not talking about the crazy ones. Okay, the fucking wackadoodles. Okay, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about there are thoughtful Democrats out there. I know you don't think that, some of you, but there are some thoughtful Democrats out there. They're like, you know what? I don't really like this guy. Like, this guy is kind of a bad guy. And so what they're doing is they're trying to rewrite history. And this matchup against Dave Reichert is a death sentence for Dems, and they know it. And they know it. This is what can take Reichert down. What can take Reichert down is Republicans. That's what can take Reichert down. So listen, semi people, I love you guys. I do. A lot of you are my friends. And we just have to have a come to Jesus talk. Some of you worked with me on Lauren's campaign, and I always told you the truth on where we were as a campaign. And if it was a big shit sandwich and everybody had to take a bite, you know that I told you the truth, right? And we dealt with it as a family. We dealt with it as a team. We dealt with it as a crew. Okay? Semi-Bird people have to understand he's got the nomination now. He's got all these different things. There was no financial bump. There was no financial bump. If you look at the trend lines, rewind this video and go back and look at the trend lines. There's no bump. This month, he's going to post a 54,000. Unless he's got an ace up his sleeve, he's going to drop a big amount of money, which I don't think he's done, because he would have dropped it earlier in the month if that was the case. But, you know, nothing Semi's done has made sense, so maybe that could happen. But I don't think so. Because he doesn't have anything to talk about. He probably would have dropped that. I would have dropped it in the C3s, and then I would have given myself something to talk about. So he's flatlined. He's going to meander on 54, 55. He might bump to 70, 75. He might even hit 100,000 one month, but it doesn't make a difference. This is over. This is done. Okay? Now, if you accept that reality, fight like hell. If Semi's your guy, I want you to support the hell out of him all the way through August. That is your duty. He is your candidate. He's your guy. Support him. Work hard. Go out there and do your little sign waving if that's what you want to do, which, by the way, does not swing votes, but it gives you something to do, right? But whatever. If you want to go out there and campaign, knock on doors, put out signs, make phone calls, send text messages, do all those different things that campaigns should do, awesome. Do it. It's not going to make a difference. You're going to lose in August. Fine. But whatever. It's your guy. Support him. The next day after primary, when Dave Reichert's the guy, you got to swallow hard and you got to support Dave, because you cannot stay home. You cannot write in someone else against Bob Ferguson, because they have the numbers advantage throughout the state by a little bit. And because the Dems control the system in Washington, they can register voters like they did in 2020, like this. I think we had like 80 or 90,000 magically voters just like appear in the voter rolls in 2020. If you don't think that they're going to do that this cycle, you're fooling yourself. Okay, so Semi's people have to be committed to Semi, and then when he loses, I'm just telling you the truth, when he loses, you got to pivot, swallow hard, go get you a Reichert sign, and you got to support him. Then when he becomes governor, then what you have to do is support him, and you have to hold him accountable to not sign stupid things into law. Let me give you an example. We supported a guy here in Las Vegas, or I'm sorry, here in Nevada, a guy out of Las Vegas, Lombardo. Sheriff Lombardo became a governor here. Now he's Governor Lombardo. Governor Lombardo, a Republican, beat Sisolak. So we took the governorship back, but this Republican governor just signed into law a law supporting transgender stuff. And Republicans here are holding him accountable, and he very well could get primaried over this very thing. And he would lose in a primary to a strong candidate. That's what has to happen if Dave Reichert becomes governor. You have to hold him accountable to Republican principles. But at the end of the day, you don't have anything if you don't hold the office. You got to get Dave Reichert elected. Okay? Same thing in the House. The H-Rock is not a fan of Chris Gergen or Dark Horse Political or anything about me. Okay, they're just not. Okay, and the feeling's mutual. I think H-Rock, they could fall into a barrel full of tits and come out sucking their thumbs. They're a bunch of idiots, a lot of them. Some of them, there's some good people, but most of them are morons. But you know what? At the end of the day, I'm going to support them because the Republicans cannot fall into a super minority, right? So they can do their little games behind the scenes, and I'll play my little games behind the scenes. But at the end of the day, I'm going to support them electing Republicans. Same thing in the Senate. Braun's not a fan of Chris Gergen or Dark Horse Political. I'm not a fan of John Braun. Okay? But at the end of the day, I'm going to support John in getting Republicans elected, and he can play his games and try to get my clients to fire me, and I can play my games and primary some of his people that he doesn't want to have to spend money on. But at the end of the day, I'm going to support getting Republicans elected and support those guys in doing that. That's what we have to do. Okay, so this is where we're at, ladies and gentlemen. I haven't even been looking at your comments. Let's see here. Filing close. Oh, 4 p.m. Oh, all right, my bad. 4 p.m. on Friday is when filing day. Okay, Mary said. Oh, look at this. Okay. Mary, by the way, I did get your message, and yes, I will upload that stuff to YouTube. I've just been remiss. I've been very busy, and I apologize. But Semi maintains it's not about the money. Right. Well, Semi is an idiot if he thinks that. It is about the money. It's always about the money. It's always about the money. Lauren could not have achieved what Lauren achieved in 2020 without the money. Period. Full stop. Period. Full stop. You know, we were spending to do all those rallies. We were doing probably, 12, 15 rallies, big rallies, thousands of people, thousands all over the state every month. That cost us probably 80, 100 grand a month to produce all those shows. Absolutely. Absolutely it did. And word spread like wildfire. Well, you think that we just got the stage and the band and the lights and the video boards and all that stuff for free? Are you kidding me? The only thing that was free was the vendors. We actually didn't charge the vendors anything, and because we wanted them to stay in business and be able to go and sell their food so they can feed their families. Right? But everything else we had to pay for that. Okay? And at the end of the day, it was the donors that paid for it. We had to have the money to do that. We ran a 30-second ad during the playoffs, during the baseball playoffs. That ad was like, if my memory serves, like 50 grand for 30 seconds, but it reached 3 million eyes. Okay, that takes money. You got to do it, right? Mail. If you're sending mail out super cheap, let's say you got it dirt cheap, you're like 35 cents. A record. Let's just for round numbers, let's say 30 cents. You got a big deal, 30 cents. You're going to send out 500,000 pieces of mail. What's 500,000 times 30 cents? That's right. It's 150 grand. That's a lot of money. That's 3 times the amount of money that for one mailer. Okay. So this kind of stuff, it matters. It matters. That's why I say, ladies and gentlemen, the race is over. Either you like it, you don't like it. I don't give a shit. I'm going to tell you the truth. The race is done. Okay. Support Semi all the way to August, but just realize this isn't going to happen for you. And the next day after the election, go grab you a Reichert sign and make sure that you push as hard as you possibly can against Ferguson, because I'm telling you, if Ferguson gets elected, and the Democrats get a supermajority in the House and a supermajority in the Senate, or even if it's close, the state is locked down in perpetuity forever. Okay? Because the Washington State Republican Party doesn't have the money. All the big donors have fled and will be on hiatus until such time that there is a change in leadership and that there is a change in the PCOs and the delegates and all of that. House Republican Caucus. They're not raising any money. Stokesbury doesn't know how to raise money. He just doesn't know how to raise it. He's good at many things, or so I'm told. I haven't seen it, but he's good at many things. You know, Listen, JT and I had our differences, but JT was good at many things. Fundraising was one of them. JT was smart, very, very smart. And I know I gave him a lot of shit, but you know what? I never underestimated him because he is smart. He's a smart man. Stokesbury, not so much. Not very bright, cannot do it, cannot raise money, he doesn't have the respect of his caucus. Nobody respects him. They just kind of put up with him. John Braun is not a strategist. This is the guy that spends $250,000 in a race that's a D plus 14 because his consultant told him to, right? It never dawned on him, wow, maybe we should spend money in races we can win, right? So, you know, the caucuses are in trouble. We got to get new leadership there. And the money is going to stay out as long as this leadership is like this. JT had good relationship with the money people. Stokesbury, not so much. John, not so much. So now what's happening is the candidates are having to go and they're on islands and they're having to self-contain, and they can't rely on the party except for one thing, and that's to maybe the party takes in a large donation, and then the party now has to go in through, I don't know where they're going to get this money, but they're going to have to try to help these candidates, you know, some way. But Republicans are really in a lot of trouble. So we cannot have a super minority. We cannot have in the House or the Senate, and we definitely cannot have Ferguson as governor. So that's it. That's what I have for you. Just wanted to share the updates because, you know, at this point, we're going to get filing week starts tomorrow. I will be in state. Adam says, go Semi Bird. Hey, Adam, I applaud you, man. Support your guy. Support your guy. Much respect to you for supporting your guy and supporting your values. You guys share the same values. He's your guy. Support him. Just make sure that you support Reichert if Semi doesn't get there in August. Because at the end of the day, it's not about being right that wins elections. It's about running a good race. Okay. Joe Kent, another good guy. I like Joe a lot. Joe's a good guy. I like Joe Kent. Joe's running a good race down there in the third. So yeah, that's it. I'll be in the state not tomorrow. I just got back from Reno, actually Lake Tahoe. We had the Nevada Republican Convention, which was orderly and run really well. A lot smaller than the Washington State Republican Convention because Nevada is a smaller state. There's only 3 million of us here. But it was great. Good time up there in Lake Tahoe. Such a beautiful place. So today was rest, kind of getting myself squared away. Yeah, Jesse Young. Jesse Young is honest. Full disclosure, Jesse's my very good friend, and I love Jesse and his family, and I consider him a brother. And so we're going to make sure that Jesse gets back into office. Pete Serrano pulled his endorsement of Semi. I have not heard that, Mary. Of course, Trump, Adam, absolutely. My wife, congratulations to my wife. I want to give my wife a congratulations. My wife is now working on, she is the Latino coordinator for the leading mayoral campaign here in Las Vegas. And she is the Latino coordinator, state director for Latinos for Turning Point Action. And she just got hired. Congratulations to her on Friday. She is officially a Trump staff member running the Latino campaign here in Nevada. So, yeah, I am excited about that. So congratulations to my beautiful wife. She works hard. She deserves it. And it's something she's worked very hard for a long time. And a lot of people don't see how hard you guys work on the ground, and a lot of times you don't get the recognition that you deserve. I know my wife has fallen. My wife has you know, kind of fallen into that category where she works hard behind the ground, and you know, she works hard, and then people either take the credit for it or she doesn't get recognized. So finally, her time has come, and she's getting to stand in the sun. So congratulations to my beautiful wife. She's done very well. So anyway, I will see all you fine people, or some of you fine people, or I don't know, maybe none of you fine people if you don't run into me, but I'll be around next week. I've got 6 candidates that we are getting in races next week, and we're going to run them hard and run them deep, and we're going to get Republicans elected. So anyway, we love you guys. I'm so glad you guys joined me tonight. If you like this video, share it, like it, love it, hate it, whatever. We love you guys. We will see you guys this week. Oh, I will be on Outlaw Radio live in studio with Kevin on Wednesday night. So if you're around, tune into that. All right. We'll see you guys later. We love you guys.